Haunted Homes Realty. This is Aurora speaking. How may I help you? Oh, you would like to make an appointment? Splendid. When were you looking to come in? Sometime this week? How about Tuesday at noon? Perfect. Now, are you buying or selling? Buying? Great. Can I have your first and last name as well as a contact number? Wonderful. All right. No, I don't need any more details than that right now. We will discuss anything further at our appointment. But if you do have questions, please don't hesitate to call. Thank you, and have a lovely, dreary day. Hello, welcome. Please come in and have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. We spoke on the phone a couple of days ago. I'm Aurora, and I'll be your realtor, guiding you through this process and just making it as easy and as smooth as it can be. But before we really get into the grit of things, I'm going to need a few extra details from you. I have your first and last name from our previous brief conversation, as well as the contact number that you gave me. Now, is that number your primary contact number in case I need to get a hold of you for whatever reason? Alright. Is there an email address you could also provide me with? Good. Now, I know you said that you wanted an agent to assist in the process of buying a home, but is renting something that you would be remotely interested in? No? Very well. Is this your first home hunting experience? Ah, it is. New blood is always fun to have on the market. The housing market, that is, mind you. Have you already discussed with your bank how much you will be approved for? Good. I do appreciate that you come prepared. You must have been doing your research. Most new home hunters aren't prepared with even that for the first meeting. So you do know your price range then. Excellent. What about area? Is there a certain area you want to remain in, a certain mile radius, or are you open to anything? Okay, so definitely a little more lenient in that department. That provides you with more options, so I say that is only a benefit to you. Alright, is there anything you wish to add? Any details you'd like to make? Any points you'd like to discuss before we really begin? No? Very well. Let me just tell you a little bit about what we do here at Haunted Homes Realty. We are a little different from your average typical realty in that we specialize in pairing people up with the haunted homes of their dreams, or their nightmares, if you wish. While there are those who cannot appreciate exactly what it is that we do, we know that there are many, like yourself, who do. Homes of a more spectacular variety never really got their just dues. And while these homes were out there and the people who would love them were out there, there was just never really any way to introduce them to one another. Until we came along. For 50 years we have been catering to the creepy and the odd, and in these past 50 years we have had nothing but horrifically satisfied customers. We have really opened up the market of haunted homes, and that is a fact that we are very proud of. But let us discuss what actually is a haunted home. As to say, what qualifications do homes need to meet before we agree to sell them through our firm? Not all homes are haunted per se in the traditional sense. For some home buyers, especially new bloods like yourself, a home with paranormal activity may be a bit too much to handle. So we also deal in homes who are more chilling in their atmosphere, or their architecture, or their location. It's very important to us that we match the perfect home to our buyers, be it actually haunted or not. Though our paranormal homes are what truly stands us out on the market and what really gave us our start to help build our clientele and put our name out there, we expanded to include homes with minimal or no activity in the past 20 years, with incredible feedback, to say the least. Do you think that you would prefer something with or without activity? You haven't decided? That's fine. Of course, it would be my recommendation to either go for something that's haunting in other ways other than paranormally, or go for something with minimal activity, seeing as it is your first home. Have you ever lived in a home with activity before? No? Yeah, so I would definitely consider starting small, perhaps a residual haunting if you wanted something with activity, or even considering a home with just a previous human-induced poltergeist activity, so you retain some of that haunted history. Oh, poltergeist hauntings are hauntings that usually take the form of objects being moved, hidden, or thrown. Sometimes they may disappear or reappear. Most of the time, these instances and disturbances are a result of psychokinesis, or PK, which is the power to move objects with the mind, whether consciously or unconsciously. If PK is the result of this haunting, then it is an individual within the house causing this unknowingly due to an incredible emotional energy, especially if the individual is overwhelmed or very stressed or has undergone an extreme emotional circumstance. Typically, the culprits are young adolescent girls, but not always. And although it's caused by this one person, it will certainly take a toll on the entire group or household. Sometimes these hauntings are playful, and other times they can be incredibly malicious. The hauntings usually start out slowly and increase in intensity until it reaches a peak, and then it will decline or even stop just as abruptly as it began and never happen again. And since this poltergeist haunting is connected to a person, it would not be tied to the house or the land, so there wouldn't be any activity for you to worry about. But a poltergeist haunting will definitely give you and your home that lingering reputation. Although I do make a distinction for a human-induced poltergeist haunting, because in more rare instances there's a greater paranormal influence involved. When it's not an individual who is responsible, it is typically a group of spirits in the area who pull their energy together in order to accomplish moving larger objects and making noises. Usually this is because they are upset about something and want to be recognized, but sometimes the root of their anger is just not clear. And this haunting can stop just as abruptly as the other, but there is also the possibility for it to come back without warning, and sometimes very strongly. So that is not something I would recommend for a new home hunter like yourself. But a human-induced PK poltergeist haunting is totally fine, because there's no real paranormal activity going on. Would that be something you might be interested in? Perhaps? Very well. I shall keep note of that. Yes, the other one that I mentioned, a residual haunting. This is the most common type of haunting, and typically the one you would probably think of when picturing a haunted location. A residual haunting is also known as a place memory, and doesn't involve a ghost or spirit interacting with those who witness it. This type of haunting is usually a remnant of a past traumatic event that happened at or near the location prior to someone's death. For example, you might see an apparition of a woman looking out the window or hear footsteps going up and down the stairs. These hauntings are the records of energy that have imprinted on the area and will play on a loop. So the same scenes or sounds will simply repeat without much variation. There is also no direct communication or contact with the living. In fact, these hauntings are quite harmless, which is why, if you do desire a home with activity, this is the one I would suggest if you are not interested in poltergeist. Those are the 2 out of the 4 categories of hauntings that we deal with that I would say are acceptable for a new home buyer. On some levels, there are of course subcategories within each field, but that's a general overview. Yes, there are a total of 4 categories of hauntings that we deal with here. The other 2 would be intelligent haunting and demonic haunting, neither of which I would suggest for you. In fact, even some experienced haunted home owners are simply not able to handle that sort of activity. Intelligent hauntings are not too bad for someone who knows what to expect and is more experienced, but I wouldn't recommend it for someone who has never lived in a haunted home. And demonic hauntings for yourself, I believe, are just off the table. We actually conduct our own independent investigation of a home when someone decides to sell with us, so that we can properly profile a home and make sure we can accurately pair it with a potential buyer. However, to be clear, we cannot guarantee the amount of paranormal experiences you may have, or if the experiences change. We also cannot guarantee that if you buy a home that currently has no activity, that it will not develop something further down the road after it is already in your possession. Especially because there may have been traumatic instances within a home that has left an imprint, but the activity simply hasn't come to life yet. So that's something you want to remember as we look over the history of some haunted homes and deciding what is best for you. So have you come to any conclusions or have any thoughts on what sort of activity you would want, if you would want any at all? You think you'd like to start out with something with no activity? Well, that is perfectly fine. As I said, we can show you a multitude of beautiful haunted homes without the actual worry of them being haunted in the traditional sense. We will look at things such as location, architecture, history, character, design, and much more. Now, I just want to go over some more questions with you to kind of get a feel for your style and help narrow down the list, alright? Great. First of all, would you prefer to live somewhere more secluded, or would you rather have neighbors? How far away from the closest neighborhood would you be willing to consider? Very well. And when it comes to the way the house looks, are you envisioning something more traditional, more gothic, more unassuming, or Victorian? What's your preference there? Oh, very nice choice. How many stories are you looking at? Preferably 2? Okay. What else would you like to have in your home? 2 bedrooms or more? 2 baths? Full baths, I'm assuming. Alright. And an office or library? Large yard, large kitchen, dining, and living room space. Basement and or attic? Are there any preferred landmarks you'd like to live near? Graveyards, forests, lakes, battlefields, maybe some historical sites? Okay. Alright, yeah. I'll definitely make note of that here. Anything else that you would like to add? That's alright. If you can't think of anything now, here is my card. It has my email address and my number on it. Feel free to contact me at any time. What is next is that I'm going to take all of these things that you have requested and begin to look for a home that meets this criteria within your price range. I'm going to compile a list, get something together, and within the next few days, I'm going to email you some options that I have found for you to look over and consider. And when we discover one or more that you like, we will go from there. Sounds good? Do you have any further questions for me before we leave here today? Very well. Again, feel free to contact me at any time if you think of any questions. You can expect an email from me in the near future. Thank you, and have a spooktacular day.